Every chef I've spoken to falls into one of three camps. There's the ones who are constantly starting over, there's the ones who are stuck in maintenance mode, and there's the rare few who actually seem to have their shit together all year round. And the difference isn't their hours or their genetics, the difference is structure. The ones who do have their shit together, it's because they have a system, a structure, that keeps them consistent when everything else is carnage. And you can see it the second they walk into work. Calm, confident, steady, because they've built habits that keep them locked in. And that's exactly what I'm going to break down in this video. The same system that helped me and dozens of other chefs build shift-proof consistency year-round. So the first thing is to just start simple. Because most people aren't struggling because they don't want it enough. They're struggling because they overcomplicate it. Thinking they need a brand new diet, a 5-day gym plan, a big spreadsheet to keep track of everything. You don't. Just think of it like lighting the stove. Once the pilot light is on, you're good to go. You can turn the stove up to max, you can keep it low, but it doesn't stay the same all day. You change it based upon what you actually need. And it's exactly the same here. If you can just get the pilot light on and start doing something, then you can make changes based on what you need later down the line. So if you are at that stage where you want to make a change, but you're scared or overwhelmed by everything, you just need to do something. You just need to start. Whether that is just going for more walks every week, starting to focus on getting protein in every meal, or just getting in the gym. It doesn't even matter what you do at this stage. But start first, do something, and you can make it better and you can change it in time. The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to prove to yourself that you can do something. So we've got started. Now we want to tighten things up a bit. Build a routine, make sure it's working, and then make sure work isn't going to get in the way. And again, most people overcomplicate this bit. They think they need 5 perfectly planned workouts or the perfect ratio of carbs to fat to protein in their diet, or like brand new color-coded Tupperwares. That's not what you need. What you actually need is what I call a minimum effective routine, which is the smallest set of habits that you can do even on your busiest, worst possible week. And for most of my clients, that means like 2 short workouts, which are like 30, 40 minutes max, 3 or 4 nutrition non-negotiables, things like getting enough protein in, staying hydrated, getting enough fruit and veg in, and then 1 or 2 daily wins that take less than 5 minutes. That's literally it. You design it for your worst week so that when that week comes, you can still stay on track. And there's basically no possible way that you can fail. Just like when you prep for a weekend in the kitchen. You prep for the highest number of covers that might come in. You don't prep for the best case scenario of the number of people that you hope come in. So stop chasing perfection, just build something that you can actually keep up with when shit hits the fan. So we're layering things in now. The next thing to pay attention to is recovery and fatigue. Because here's the truth that nobody in kitchens even likes to think about. Fatigue is killing your progress faster than literally anything else. You don't need another coffee. You don't need another Red Bull. You need recovery that fits what you're actually doing on a weekly basis. If you're doing 3 workouts a week and 60 hours at work, 5 hours sleep a night is not going to cut it, I'm sorry to say. So it might mean that you have to eat smarter, more satisfying meals, not necessarily healthier, cleaner meals, to actually give you the energy you need for the week. Or you might need a 10-minute walk after work instead of another pint after you finish, so that you can actually start to wind down properly instead of slapping a band-aid over with a pint. Or even just a way to switch off on an evening instead of letting your brain run at 1,000,000 miles per hour and stopping you from going to sleep. Because when you start treating your energy like a currency and your recovery as an investment in that currency, that's when everything changes. You stop burning out, you stop waiting for motivation, and suddenly you've got more left in the tank for both your work and your workouts, and probably even some left over for whatever else you want to do on a weekly basis. See, the most successful chefs that I work with, they're not more disciplined than everyone else. They're the ones where the recovery matches the work that they're actually doing, because we've designed it that way. So think of your nervous system like an extractor fan. If you ignore it for too long by not getting enough sleep, not eating properly, not looking after yourself, then the heat and everything else is going to build until everything collapses. But if you do 10 minutes of cleanup every day, by going for a walk, by stretching, by eating a good meal, that keeps the whole kitchen running how it should be. Right, we're getting there. But this is where most people would rest on their laurels and think, right, sound, I've got a good plan in place, that's all I need. But we don't just want good enough. We want shift proof. And that's where accountability comes in. Because those same people will get 2 or 3 weeks into a plan, they'll lose motivation, and then they'll sack it off. Because everyone loves to use motivation as a scapegoat. They complain that they don't have enough of it. But motivation, right, honestly, it's like the specials board. It changes every day or every week. It's never consistent. It's never exactly the same. And what actually keeps you consistent is accountability. When someone's actively checking in on you. when you've got progress that you need to tick off to keep someone else happy. When you know that someone is waiting to hear how everything's going. That's what turns, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow, into, let me make sure I get it done by the end of the day. My clients, right, they don't succeed because their lives are easier. They succeed because they're not doing it all on their own. And accountability isn't pressure, like you must do this. It's permission. It's someone reminding you that even when the week's chaos, you've still got it in you to show up. So for this one, right, if you want some accountability and you want to work with a coach, I know a guy, he's pretty cool. I'll put a link to his details in the description below. But if that's not for you, then it doesn't mean you can't have any accountability. It just means you've got to get a bit creative. You could ask a mate or even make a mutual agreement with a mate that you'll check in with each other on a certain day at a certain time every single week to ask how everything's going and to make sure that you are still showing up and that you've not just sacked it off and not done what you need to do that week. Okay, this last one, right? Most people forget about it. They miss the forest for the trees. They're not playing the long game. They just want quick results. They want to be ready for the holiday in 4 weeks' time. Or they want to look good for the wedding in 2 months' time. And that's absolutely great. Fantastic. But here's the thing that most transformations never actually show you. The goal isn't just losing weight or getting in shape. The goal is to change who you see yourself as. Because if you go from chef trying to get fit and healthy to chef who actually looks after himself, that's the long game right there. Think of it like this. Are you someone who tries to remember to brush their teeth twice a day? Or do you just do it automatically every single day because you're not a degenerate? I imagine you're probably someone who looks after their teeth. So you brush them morning and night every single day. It doesn't take effort to do that. So the point I'm trying to make is that when your habits become part of your identity, the effort it takes disappears. You don't question whether to go to the gym, just like you don't question if you need to brush your teeth. You just get it done. You don't spiral after a heavy week. You just reset and get on with it automatically. And that's the shift-proof blueprint that I'm on about here. Not perfect weeks, not crazy diets, just small, simple systems built for carnage. Because although it might seem like it, consistency isn't always just discipline. It's clever design and systems. So there it is. That's the 5-step strategy. Copy and paste this and you'll be good to go. And if you found this useful, I've got a bunch of other videos going a little bit more in detail on some of these different points, things like the workouts, things like recovery, motivation. So you can check those out somewhere on the screen here.